When one is not comfortable within themselves, the most basic urge or tendency is to do something about it. I would venture to say there will never come a time when it's not like that for anybody. It's natural. You're not okay, you try to make it better. You try to do something about it. So that's never the question as to whether you're going to try and protect yourself, whether you're going to try to make it more comfortable, whether you're going to try to get things in a more reasonable, comfortable way. So we don't have to discuss that. You're going to do that. Everyone does that. Everyone has always done that. The question is how? That's the question. And have you ever really stopped to look at how you're doing that? That's what spirituality is stopping to look at how you're doing that. I believe in the end, there don't even need to be a teaching of how to do it. I do believe at the bottom of my being that if people stopped and looked at how they're going about trying to make it better inside, they would be shocked at what they saw. But we don't do that, which is really funny. We don't look at it. I swear it's very much like getting in a car and not knowing how to drive and never having a discussion with anyone how to drive. You just get in this car and you put your foot on a pedal and it starts going. And then something looks like it's coming at you and you freak. And you just turn away from it. Not how much do you turn, not where are you going. It's just sort of like, I'm freaking out and this road isn't staying straight and what should I do? And you're just reacting to every single thing that comes in from outside. Well, you're not going to get anywheres, and driving is not going to be a comfortable experience. You won't enjoy any of it. It's going to be a terrible experience for you and everybody on the road with you. That is what it is like for a normal human being inside. I didn't even know there was such a thing as driving lessons. I'm just in here freaking out. I thought it was just a matter of how do you kind of not freak out at this moment and make it a little bit nicer so that it isn't as scary. If you do that, you won't get any worse. So spirituality is just stopping for a moment and you look. And the first thing you need to be willing to look at is that I'm not okay. Not freak out, just notice, not doing so good in here. If you can't handle that moment where you notice this is not doing so well in here, then you can't do anything about it. If you can't stop for a moment and notice that you're in a car and there's pedals and a steering wheel, and all you notice is that things are going on out there and you're freaking out, then all you're going to do is react to every single thing that comes and causes you to get disturbed and to have issues. And so nothing's going to change. And that's how most people live their lives. There's whatever comes at them, they just react and try to be a little bit okay. There's a much better way to do it. The first thing it requires, and we can talk about how to do that for a moment, is you need to be able to remain centered, conscious, clear, call it whatever you want. Centered is a good word. What does centered mean? I'm not scattered all over the place because something happened. What does that mean? Really, we use the word centered, conscious, clear. It really means something very simple. It means I was driving along doing somewhat okay, relatively okay. And all of a sudden, somebody cut me off in front of me. Not enough that I had to really hit them or anything like that, but just they cut off in front of me. Am I still here where I was a moment ago, enough to notice that somebody cut me off and that I got scared, that there was this reactiveness that happened inside of me, and that there was this tendency to jam on the brakes, to beep the horn, to swerve the car, whatever it was. There's this moment in which the event took place, it came in through your senses, you were relatively stable, then it came in, and then there was all this reactive energy that happened inside. And could you remain conscious, centered, clear when that happened? Or did it take over the entire experience and you just reacted to, in a sense, the lowest part of your being? That's the lowest part of your being. Fear, anxiety, reactiveness, panic, all right? There's nothing ever came out of panic. Nobody did well in panic. It's like sort of like if you're teaching your kid to play baseball and they get scared when the ball bounces in front of them. If they close their eyes, turn their head away, they will never, ever, ever play ball, and they'll probably get conked in the head. The ball doesn't know that I don't want to play. The ball doesn't know that. That's something you're doing as a form of reactiveness, but it's not helping the situation. It's the same thing when you go to drive that car or anything else in life. You're in there. You're going to be in there. It's a question of, are you conscious and aware, or are you freaked out and reacting? So that's what it means to remain centered, not freaked out and reacting. But here comes the subtleness. If the event takes place outside, somebody cuts you off, it's not your fault that the reaction that happens inside is freaky. I'm not going to say to you, you're wrong, you're bad, you lose. Because it is what happens, isn't it? It happens instantaneously based on the current state of your psyche. It just takes place. If the world unfolds a certain way and you have certain patterns inside your psychological being, those things outside are going to hit those patterns and it's going to react inside that way. You shouldn't feel that's your fault. It's not wrong. It has nothing to do with anything. The question of spirituality is, can you remain centered, clear, above it when that takes place? Can you notice this person cut me off, and then my heart started beating really fast, and my mind started going crazy, but I'm still here. I don't know how to say it to you. All I can say is, hi, you still there? And if you say yes, then you are. If you don't notice that I was there waving at you because you're too panicking, then you're not there. That is spirituality, and that's your work. Your work, when it's said and done, is to always be there. Why? For the same reason that if you get into a car and you're driving, I expect you to be there. I really don't want you on the road if you're not aware that the road is curving, that people are driving, that lights are changing. Do you want to drive on the road with those people? They're like non-conscious people. They're lost in the reactiveness that's happening inside. There is a state in which, yes, events happen outside. Yes, they do. And yes, reactions happen inside. Yes, they do. The question is, what is you, the indwelling being, you, the consciousness, the awareness of being? What happens to you when that happens? In spirituality, the answer is very straightforward. Nothing. What? Nothing happens to me. I'm sitting here looking at her. She gets up, goes, sits over there. What happens to me when I see her get up and sit over there? She gets up and leaves. She raises her hand and interrupts me. Various things can happen, can't they? What happens to me who's in here looking out when she does that? The answer should be nothing. It's okay that, maybe your mind starts, oh, why is she doing that? What did I do? Whatever it does. But what happened to me? Nothing. I'm here. I don't have to react to that. I don't have to participate in the craziness that can go on inside the psyche because of the event that took place outside. That is what is meant by the word centered. That is what is meant by the word clear. And as crazy as it sounds, that is witness consciousness. That is mindfulness. We throw these words around, but who really understands what they mean? They're very simple. That's what it means to be established within the self. Ooh, that sounded really high. It's not high. It just means you didn't freak out because your mind freaked out. You didn't freak out because your heart started doing something weird. You are the indwelling being. You are conscious. You're always there. You don't have to do anything to be there. You are there. The problem is when these changes happen inside due to the events outside, you permit yourself to get so sucked into them that you might as well not be there. There's no one there. You're freaking out. Have you ever seen anybody freak out? Have you ever seen anybody just totally freak out? All right? Just freak out. Hey, it's just a mouse. It's cool. It's only 2 inches long. Please don't jump on the chair. Have you ever seen yourself freak out? And how often did it help? How about never? There's never a single time that you freaked out that anything you did was the highest thing you could do. There, if I'm driving and somebody cuts me off and I panic, I just panic and I start reacting to my panic. How well will I drive? You're always better off being there. But that's a silly thing to say. I mean, we all know that. Am I better off when I'm driving at 80 miles an hour with my eyes open or my eyes closed? You are better off being there. That's a very Zen term, being there. Now you know what that means. That's all it means. Isn't that neat? It just means being there. Not being there. It's not enlightened. It's just being there. So your first step on your spiritual journey, if you really want to grow, and it is the essence of personal growth and spiritual growth, is you need to find a way to at least be there so that you have some decision points and some choice about what's going on. So those are your practices. You just learn to be there. So coming back to what we're talking about, the world unfolds, it comes in, and a shift takes place inside. You have to reach the point that that's okay with you. Now I've now started where I usually end my talks. I'm telling you, that's what spirituality is.